Welcome back to the HubFizz Live Show, where you can get ideas to grow your eco-conscious business. And today I've got Nicky Kennedy back, who joined me on show 2, and she runs Make, Do and Mend, Saving Money and Mother Earth. So she's a big inspiration to me on how to reuse plastic, upcycle it, and make use of it. So I've invited Nicky back to help us review all of the guests that we have had and to sort of see what they've been doing to kind of reduce plastic consumption in their lives, but also ask obviously a couple of questions, answer a couple of questions from people about plastic, how to reduce plastic. Is plastic drastic or fantastic is the name of the show. So yeah. So yeah, for those tuning in, please post your questions and in the comments. This is a bit longer than our usual 10 minutes because there's quite a lot to cover, and we're kind of doing a review, as I said, of all the previous guests as well. So we'll be on here for a bit longer to answer all your questions, and we'd love to also hear all of your tips as well. So we'll go through that. I think Nicky, you've got some stuff to show us as well about things.
Yeah, if we have time, I've got a couple of things to show you. Yeah,
brilliant. And then a couple of questions that people have put in before as well. We'll try and get to those as well. So I guess one of the things is, because it's Plastic Free July, this is why we're doing this, and we all have kind of a relationship with plastic anyway. So things like our phones, our tablets, computers, there are some things that we just can't get away from using, but it's not about putting that huge pressure on yourself, I think, to
absolutely.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think the pressure and stress, it seems a strange thing to start a discussion about plastic but I think that there's a lot of pressure. People are stressed about it. And quite often the problem of plastic seems so great that it's easier just to not deal with it, just to think, oh, I can't deal with that, it's too big. And I think one of my key messages is about making it small, making that what seems to be a huge problem small, and then just dealing with it. I think there's that saying, isn't there? How do you eat an elephant? Well, obviously as vegan you wouldn't eat an elephant, but how do you eat an elephant? And it's just one bite at a time, and that's what we're advocating. I think we're both on the same page about that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I think it can be insurmountable, and I mean some of the questions that we've had that were asked some of them are just sort of too big, but I think if we sort of work through, I mean we've had some fantastic guests over the show over the past sort of 7 weeks. I think this is week 8 now that we're in, so sort of almost 2 months we'll be going, and on the first one we had Gail talking about getting to grips with Zoom and online meetings and presenting yourself, which is a really great skill.
Massive skill, and I learned a lot from her. And my delivery has changed because of her. That's a show that I highly recommend to watch if you're working online or even chatting with friends online. And
some of the things that she suggested was using virtual backgrounds. So I don't know if I can do it on here, but I'm going to give it a go and just show you from the show.
Yeah, a big standout for me was about the virtual backgrounds. Yeah, brilliant.
Is that showing the right way round?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
the way I'm sitting here, you've got Gail is on your left, you're in the middle. Beautiful lady typing is just behind you. And that's 100% plastic free.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the other things you could do is if you could have a backdrop, something that stands up, and you could put a piece of material or something like that over it.
Absolutely. You don't have to have a banner. I mean, if you've already got one of those drop down or pull up banners, they are plastic. But if you've already got it, that's fine. Use it. But it's just a really good way to say, look, you can brand yourself, you can advertise yourself, you can get a message across just at a click of a button. And actually, whilst you're on live, you could change that background several times at no plastic cost whatsoever. So for me, this is a win-win.
Win-win.
Although we do have to type on our plastic keys on our plastic computers to get it, but you know, that's
like I think we sort of there was a joke. We can't go to sort of have a wooden computer, can we?
No.
So to come up with some sort of alternatives. But again, you know, I know of places that will recycle your old towers, computer towers, and use different parts out of it. So
absolutely,
if you Google or you ask someone, there's always a way to recycle stuff as much.
Absolutely, there's always a way, and we're not here to advocate 100%, you know, plastic. Don't use plastic because it's become it's necessary in some situations. It's just about doing the best that we can do and making changes that we can make.
Exactly. I mean, we were talking about it before, weren't we? And sort of like, you know, on the thing, is it drastic or fantastic? And I think it really has its uses in certain cases. I think the idea is to try not to buy the single-use plastic, which you know is going to end up in landfill, which then ends up in waterways, which ends up in the ocean, etc. But I was just telling you, like in my garden, our beds are made from recycled plastic, sort of decking.
Like decking,
yeah. And the reason we chose that was, one, it was recycled, but two, it will last forever. So if we move from here, we can flat pack that down and we can take it with us. So it's not going to fall out. So
it's all about choices, isn't it? And I think I was very inspired by Nancy Hine, is that her surname?
Yeah, from True Horizon.
Yeah, from True Horizons. I loved everything that she said. I'm really interested in her course, actually. But like you, I'm doing something else at the moment. So that's kind of coming up on my list. But the simple message I got from her was stop, take a look at yourself, evaluate what you're doing. Yep, that's her, Nancy Hine. Look at what you're doing, see where you're at, and then think, okay, what changes can I make? They don't have to be massive. If every single one of us, even if 50%, 25% of us made a small change, we would make a massive difference. And I like that idea. I've been looking at myself and stuff that I do since listening to her and thinking, okay, it's time to make this change or make that change. I thought that was a great insight. Yeah,
that is good. I think because people can find it really overwhelming. So definitely, go back. We'll post the links to the previous shows here, and her Kickstart Your Sustainability Journey course is definitely one to look out for. I'm on a course at the moment, as I said, but I'm getting onto that one next. One of our other guests was Sara from Sara By Nature.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was really interesting one for me, because she's, during lockdown, has really sort of focused on her garden and really looked at her business and had the time to really build stuff up at a really low cost.
Absolutely.
As well.
She's kind of embodied, she's got this kind of utopic thing going on, but it's quite simple. She has just gone back to basics, sorted out what matters, what doesn't. She has slowed right down. Yes, she's growing a lot of her own because she's made time to do so. She's reducing her use of plastic on a daily basis because they are virtually not buying any veg now. They're growing it. Okay, in the winter this may be different, but I think the key point for me from Sara's show was about time. And we're so time poor, or we think we're time poor, and convenience it's so easy. I still do it, I admit it, I will put my hands up. I still sometimes buy water in a plastic bottle, because if I'm out driving and I need a drink and I haven't got one, I will buy water in a plastic bottle from a petrol station. But I shouldn't, and it's planning in advance. I should have my water from my filter from at home,
Or take the refillable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing that with my coffee mug, and stopping at the stations. You actually got a discount on your coffees as well if you did have one. So But you're right, there are times when I've
screaming.
forgotten it and I've had to just buy one in a cup that's there, you know.
Yeah.
Don't
But
beat
then if
yourself.
we do, it's what we do with that afterwards, because okay, we could just put it in the bin. But for me, I use the lids from plastic bottles for all sorts of things. Like, we haven't got time to talk about that today, but maybe we can another time. But also, if you cut the bottle, you can use the bottom half as a planter for seed planting. There are so many things that we can do that keeps that plastic out of landfill. The number one choice is don't buy it. That's the number one choice. Don't buy it, don't do it, don't buy into the consumerism. However, if you do, don't feel guilty about it. Do something with it, do the right thing with it, and slowly make those changes and set yourself up to succeed in a less plastic environment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that takes me into, we had Alessandro, and he was talking about moving and making change to enhance your kind of, you know, creating movement, getting out in nature a lot as well, and, you know, just taking a you know, breath and just thinking, you know, well, I appreciate nature, go out there, and then think, well, you know, if you, with all the plastic and everything that is suffocating the nature and the waterways and everything, I think if people had a real appreciation of the nature beaches and that, they'd be less likely just to chuck something out. But again, you know, it's if you know, it's during lockdown, there's been a lot of waste, especially from all the gloves and all the masks and things like that. The beaches we've heard about. And again, you know, you can go join a beach clean, do things like
absolutely
things like that to just help out.
And the, you know, this has got multi-level, and Alexandra, you know, was very much about physical movement and moving your body, stretching, being out in nature, but also that it makes you dynamic. If you just sat in your chair, you're not going to see much. All you can see is what is around you. If you get out and you see things will inspire you, and that can drive change in a business as well. But being out in nature, your sense of well-being and your love of nature just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I found myself thinking, oh my goodness, why I must not do that again. I mustn't stop and buy the plastic bottle, or I need to make sure that I don't buy fruit wrapped in plastic. He really reinforced the why are we trying to pull back from that. It's funny because a lot of the talks, the shows that you've done, the content is what it's billed to be, but actually if you really listen, you know, as Fran suggested, if you really listen to what people are saying, there's so much in-depth learning in there, and skills for us. And I think, not to go too off topic, but this issue of plastic is so close to many people's hearts. We really do need to listen to what's going on, and make some change.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's a lot of pressure, and people are sort of trying to push from the top down. And I agree, you've got to have that kind of two-pronged approach. But it's not not choosing to buy it or choosing an alternative, you know, when you go to the supermarket, not choosing the ones in plastic, choosing ones that are loose, or going to a supermarket that does that.
And that really, Lynn, that was a massive message for me from Lynn. I think she's a chocolate sommelier, is that right?
Yeah.
The message, you know, that simple choice about when I go to buy a snack or some sweets, say, do I really want it in a plastic package, or can I have a different kind of sweet that comes in paper in tin foil? Notice how I didn't mention any brands there, as I did in our prior chat. I suggested, will I buy these or will I buy those?
Yeah.
I'm going to go for those.
Yeah. And I think with what Lynn was saying as well, is because these smaller producers, sort of the authentic bean to bar, you're going to have much less waste anyway. I mean, if you think about you're collecting the beans, they put them into sacks, probably plastic sacks, maybe Hessian, who knows, and then they get packaged up again and again, and they go through all the different to the traders through the markets, and then eventually on, you know, get wrapped up and then into your supermarket. With you if you're buying a lot of these ethical small chocolates, it's literally they're doing it with a minimum amount of waste and plastic anyway. So it's a good, you know, it's a good choice. So often when you're making kind of a conscious or ethical choice, it tends to a lot of the time be less plastic anyway.
I mean, you know, there's an issue around money, obviously, because all of us are tightening our belts and maybe don't have so much to spend. But maybe we buy less and buy better quality, buy more ethically, less, you know, plastic, etc., etc. But I know that since lockdown, I've got more plastic in my house than I've ever had before, from various shopping trips when I felt I didn't have any choice. You know, it's a tricky one. Karen,
it is, but you just got to not beat yourself up. You know, I think it's making small steps and that, you know, and not feeling like it's just so overwhelming that you end up then doing nothing. I think it's just making tiny little changes to what you do, like, you know, choosing one thing over another. Just start like that.
Absolutely. And feel good about yourself, even if people are just the people that have tuned in to listen to us today. I think that they should feel really good about themselves, because it means they really care. I know people are at work and some people couldn't listen, but just taking the time to consider the situation of plastic. I mean, you know, if we are going to give it a good debate, there are some situations where plastic is actually fantastic. And my biggest example would be in the medical industry, or in hospitals, in equipment, in little things that they make that are inserted into, or, you know, things that they do, hearing aids. You know, there are so many things, glasses, and masses of things. But what we can do without is them being packaged in plastic bottles. You know, we need to encourage the packaging to change at minimum, you know, or things, as you said, computers, glasses. There are so many things that are great, but you're right, the single-use plastics, that's down to us. We need to vote with our feet.
Yeah, that's got to go. And there's alternatives that we can use in place of those. And also, I mean, they are coming up with a lot more kind of plant-based compostable plastics and that as well, which are a lot more eco-friendly. I
mean, it's a minefield knowing which plastic's okay, which isn't, what's recyclable. You know, there are huge conferences about this literally on a daily basis, and we're all trying to struggle through to do the best we can possibly do. You know, and I think that just go, oh my goodness, great minds think alike. Just going back to Fran, her ideas to really truly listen, to be present, to listen to the news, what you're being told, to the experts, listen to them. Don't do anything else. Don't be distracted, because that's how you'll begin to think, oh, okay, that sounds good. I can do that. Oh, wait a minute, what does that actually mean? And then when you do a bit of digging after listening, you can really find who's thinking like you are, and who's just, you know, just glossing something to make us buy.
Yeah, no, brilliant. That's really good, isn't it? There's some really good content within that. And
are we coming to the end?
We are. We've got a couple of minutes left. So okay, I don't know if you want to quickly show us some things. I think if we go over a little bit, I don't mind, because I'd love for you to show some of the things that you've made.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to show one thing, okay? One thing today. So you may be familiar with these. Yeah,
netting from.
It's a fruit net.
Yeah, so onions.
Of which,
you get lemons.
I have many. I try not to buy them. However, I've come up with a couple of ways to use them. If you cut them, or when you cut them, sorry, I shouldn't look away. When you cut them, this happens. If you then pull it with all your might, that happens. Yeah. So what I've done with mine is I use them rather than plastic clips. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
A bag of flour that's held with a net wrap. That's just some lentils that I don't want falling out all over my cupboard. Just wrap it around. I've cut it again to wrap it around like a bow.
Yeah.
I also use it in the garden. That's twine. I've made it into twine. On this one I've left so you can see it's plaited.
Yeah.
That twine is so strong. It is super. Even Mr. Universe is not breaking that twine. Be careful where you use it in the garden. I use it to tie stuff up. But yeah, that's a use for it. And
so sort of holding up the tomatoes or something like that.
No, absolutely. Well, ours, we've got a pear tree that's really heavy with fruit, and it's bending over, and we're holding up to a wooden stake with some twine, and it's soft. It doesn't hurt the tree at all.
Yeah,
brilliant.
That's
the other
a
thing
good idea.
I considered today, if I made loads of this, I was thinking about using it for bunting and putting, you know how you have the little triangle pieces. I'm thinking about using that as the rope for some bunting. But anyway, so yes,
good idea.
That's just something you can do with some nasty plastic.
Excellent. We've had a quick question. I know we're sort of going over time a bit, but Christelle's, she's just mentioned definitely important to take small steps to help break conscious living down and make it more achievable. Absolutely. And Sara's saying, what could be used in place of plastic wrap? We use plates and paper. Now, I got asked this question as well on my LinkedIn post, you know, about cling film. And I know that you can get those kind of wax covers that you can put over things, but I don't know if that would work if you're wrapping food up.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think plate, if you've got something in a bowl, putting a plate on it, I've been doing that for about a month now, and I've been thinking, wow, this is great. Why this is so simple? And then, those stretchy plastic things, have you seen those? They really good. I haven't got any, but they look really good, and you just stretch it over the top. You can wash it, and it lasts a really, really long time. Greaseproof paper is another one. And I think we'll see more and more products come on the market, and I think cling film will definitely become
they'll come up with an alternative that's also compostable or something.
If you have a takeaway and it comes in those plastic containers with the lids, embrace it, because it's already been, you know, you've already got it, it's in your house. Wash it clean, put your leftovers in that. Do not worry about, because it's food grade plastic. It's not going to leach. Nothing's, you know.
Yeah, well, I use all of that to put my food in, and actually I've just given Sara a whole bag full of them to get my delivery order of her food.
Yeah, great.
So we recycling and reusing. It's going to go back and forth.
Well, Sara from Sara By Nature, her food delivery, everything comes in compostable packaging now. So I'm like,
it does. I did, but I said to her, look, you know, I want to use this because I freeze them in the plastic. So I've just given her a whole bunch, and then she's going to put them there, and then anything else she can't, she'll put in her compostable packaging. But someone said as well, Samantha, shower cap works on a bowl. Good idea. So get creative. I think I love these sort of creative ideas. So yeah, I think we've gone over a bit, so I think maybe we'll have to try and end off the show. But thank you so much for joining me again.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I think we're going to definitely have to come back and do it.
This is plastic.
Yeah.
It was given to me by a 4-year-old 15 years ago, and I'm loving it. But it hasn't molded, biodegraded, nothing. This is here forever, I believe. Kind of sad, drastic, but also fantastic.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, lovely. Oh, thank you so much. Really, really good having you on the show again. For those of you tuning in, thank you so much. We will definitely jump on the comments afterwards. Keep them coming, because this is a massive topic. We've got some great guests coming up as well in the next couple of weeks. So we've got a lady who does upcycle jewellery. That's Carol Robinson from One of a Kind Club. Also, as part of Plastic Free July, and also it's National Marine Week on the 28th, we've got Neil Stavely, who is the area coordinator for Sea Shepherd, and they do lots of beach cleans and all of that. So
excellent.
But if you're interested in the whole plastic thing as well, I think that's definitely one to tune in for. It's going to be really exciting. So, and yeah, we'll let you know all the details of upcoming guests on my HubFizz page at HubFizz on Facebook. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining me, Nicky.
Don't want to
Yeah,
end
I
the
love
show.
I love these shows.
Oh,
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you for supporting it. And we're definitely going to have to get you back on, I think, on a regular basis.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because you've got lots
If
of
everybody
people
just
in.
makes a little change, one tiny little change from lots of people is the way to go.
Fantastic. Right, take care, everyone. See you
Bye.
next week, Tuesday at 11.